And it struck me like, how do you like not have a hug in such a long time? That's like a meaningful thing. It's just like children, all those
Physical
studies that they've
contact.
done where babies need that physical contact.
Right, right.
It was amazing to me.
Well, to show you, I mean, because if you think of how connected a child is to his mother or father, when I do acupuncture on little babies, on little kids, it's always on the mother's lap or the father's lap. And a good mother, you'll see, will suddenly feel a shift in a baby, just sitting there on the lap. That relationship is, you're actually treating the whole family at that point. You're treating whole families, I'm treating whole families. That's a bigger picture. And even including friends in the treatment, because we forget about how important in teenagers' lives friends are. That's part of the medicine that has to be addressed too. I had an anorexic girl come in, and we were struggling. She was seeing a psychiatrist, and it was a very difficult situation. And two of her friends, who happened to be my patients also, came to me separately and said, could I be a part of the treatment? And the psychiatrist said, no, you can't. That's out of our realm. We're not allowed. This is private, HIPAA, and all this stuff. And they said, we know what's really going on.
Right.
So we're living in a world where we keep isolating patients. I once had a mother who had a stroke after delivery. And she was in the ICU at the hospital, or a local hospital that you and I are at. And I took the baby into the ICU and just laid her on her lap, on her chest. She couldn't see. She was blinded by the experience of what she was going through, And it totally shifted her. You watched her, all the machines changed.
Right.
The oxygen level went up. It was profound. Heart rate went down, and it helped her recovery. But our temptation is to say, keep everybody out, leave her alone, and we isolate each other. Look at what happens in 3rd grade. No talking. Sit still. Sit in your class. No talking. But everybody's trying to become friends and do group work, and no talking.
I always got in trouble, trust me.
Yeah, me too.
Because I was always talking or always trying to help. I actually had an assignment where I had to write "silence is golden" 1,000 times.
Exactly.
Because I would not sit still.
Right, because we invented language so we could get along. It became a very powerful part of our culture. The rise in autism, I deal with a lot of autism, which is a language disorder at its heart. It's a communication disorder, is sort of an extreme version of the way we're all living in this very isolated way. And it's a very heartbreaking experience for parents to have a child with autism. And when you can provide hope, one of the greatest things I do with kids with autism is nutrition. You see such a big bang for your buck. Things shift very quickly.
I actually read that there was a question whether or not there was a lack of vitamin D.
Vitamin D has been studied, vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin C. Vitamins are just the tip of the iceberg. We keep wanting to break stuff down to their smallest part. We call that reductionist medicine. Chinese medicine is not reductionist. It won't work that way, because you could take the nutrients and put them in your field and still not grow a tomato. You got to know how to grow tomatoes if you're going to grow a kid, right? So the models don't clash that way. I'll give you a good example. This is a good story. When I first got interested in Chinese medicine, after that whole experience with the asthmatic kids, someone gave me a letter of introduction to a famous Chinese doctor in Chinatown. And at the time, I was really interested in how you treat eczema in children. Because in the West, you dip them in steroids, that's it. And that didn't feel right. So I went down to Chinatown, and I go to this place, and it's a pharmacy, a Chinese pharmacy, which is all these drawers of herbs. And it was a busy little place, and I was waiting for the doctor, and this little guy showed up, little old guy, shows up. They set up a card table, and he starts taking people's pulse and looking at tongues, seeing patients right there, and telling the pharmacist what herbs to take. Even that was a revelation. And I'm sitting there, yes, okay, yes, being very honorable to him, And an hour goes by, an hour and a half goes by, and sir, could I just ask my question? And he said, wait.
2 minutes.
So finally he says, come with me. We go to another pharmacy, start seeing patients, and I'm getting impatient now. And he says, what's your question? I said, how do you treat eczema in children? And he said, well, what color is the kid's poop? And I said, what kid? And he said, well, the kid with eczema. And I said, what kid with eczema? And he said, what are you talking about? And it's like we were completely missing each other. You understand? That's very individualized medicine. Whereas we think in diagnoses, one of my pet peeves when I teach doctors, students, residents, is when they say, there's an asthmatic in room 3, I say, no, Johnny is in room 3.
Right. Well, I have to tell you, this has been really great. You're going to have to come back.
My pleasure.
Because
there's a lot to talk about. We didn't get to Chinese medicine yet.
No, we didn't. And we've run out of time.
That's okay.
But Steve, this was really great. And
thank you
seriously,
for inviting me.
I'll call you and we'll set up another day.
Definitely.
Because we're going to have to talk about Chinese medicine.
My pleasure.
And I want to thank you for tuning in. This is Dr. Cowan, and I'm Dr. Minerva Santos, and it's Your Health Today.